Everyone present? Good morning.
Morning.
It is 8:32. This is the regular meeting of the Town of New Canaan Board of Selectmen, Tuesday, April 20, 2021. And before we start, we have one item to add to amend the agenda to make an appointment to Planning and Zoning. I would move we amend the agenda to add the appointment to Planning and Zoning. Is there a second?
Second here.
All in favor? Okay. With that, this is a virtual meeting. Hopefully this is our last Zoom meeting. We'll talk later about the governor's new news about opening up. And we had been trying to make this a hybrid meeting at least for today, but Channel 79 and our IT department weren't ready. So in 2 weeks, I expect we will have an in-person meeting or more likely a hybrid meeting because the governor's executive orders will remain in place at least until April 20th. So with that, the next item, so because it is a Zoom meeting, we will take public comment by email only, and we'll read them in the course of the meeting or before the end of the meeting. Anyone who wishes to comment can send a comment to bosdistribution@buchananct.gov. That's bosdistribution, all one word, @buchananct.gov. So the minutes from our last meeting on April 6th, any comments or corrections in the minutes?
None here.
Nope.
I move we approve the minutes as presented for April 6th.
Second.
Kathleen seconds. All in favor? Minutes are approved. Okay. First item is Cheryl, are you handling this one? Actuarial
Yes.
Consulting Services?
Good morning. This is a request to approve payment of $18,000 to Hooker and Holcomb for completion of the actuarial valuation report for the OPEB as of July 1st, 2020. The town has contracted with Hooker and Holcomb for actuarial and consulting services related to the funded retirement plan of the town of New Canaan and the OPEB trust. The invoices will be paid by the OPEB trust held at Vanguard. This is a bill that comes in front of you every year, and we have had the same price with Hooker and Holcomb for the past 10 years. So they are looking to renew the contract, which we are in discussions with now.
Any questions for Cheryl? I move
Good work.
I'm sorry?
They do good work.
They do.
And to keep the price at the same level for 10 years is terrific.
It's either a good deal now or they're paying a lot more.
Yeah. It was a bad deal then.
I'm getting feedback here. Could everybody mute if you're not speaking?
Yeah, I took care of that.
And so I move we approve the Hooker and Holcomb $18,000 annual actuarial services agreement, contract, whatever, for the 2020 OPEB actual valuation. Second?
Second here.
Nick seconds. Discussion? All in favor? That's approved.
Thank you.
Next item is who's doing the Playhouse roof? Joe?
I am. Good morning. So I'm here for the Playhouse Theater roof replacement project. The scope of work includes the two main roofs, which is the shingle roof on Elm Street and the EPDM roof that is over the actual theater itself. The Department of Public Works has put this project out to bid and received 5 bids. The lowest bid was J. Antonelli Roofing. A comprehensive review of the proposal has been performed by the Department of Public Works and the roof consultant Watsky Associates. So it's our recommendation that the project be awarded to Antonelli Roofing. They are the lowest bidder, and they have confirmed that they have a complete scope as indicated in the RFP and the contract documents. This is a summer project with a 2-month duration. Start in May, depending on procurement of materials. So we are requesting to enter into a contract with J. Antonelli Roofing for the amount of $262,433. And it's inclusive of alternate 8 and a $23,858 contingency. And the funds are currently available.
What's the timing of this, Joe?
Start sometime late May, depending on material. So it's a summer project.
Joe, thank you, Joe. Can you comment on how old the roof is that we're replacing and what's the expected life of the new roof?
So the roof that we're replacing, I believe is, and I can confirm this, but I believe it's about a 30-year-old roof plus. And the roof expectancy is, it's a 50-year roof on the shingles and a 20-year roof on the EPDM that's over the theater.
What does EPDM stand for? Sorry.
It's ethylene,
Okay.
propylene,
You got me
diene,
there.
polymer. It's
Okay,
it's a technical thing. It's a synthetic rubber roof.
I see. Okay. Thank you very much.
Is that a warranty, Joe, for 20 years or?
That's a warranty for 20 years. The roof consultant says they use the exact same details for the 30-year roof. So the life expectancy is probably closer to 30, but it's a warranty 20-year roof.
Okay, and as far as being solar ready?
It's compatible with solar. We are still doing the due diligence as far as with the structural engineer to make sure the roof system itself, the structural can support it. But yes, that is the intent.
So what, if anything else, needs to be done to the Playhouse? ADA compliancy, blah, blah, blah. I mean, what else do you guys foresee as being needed?
Yeah, so this is just specifically for the roof. This is kind of preserve the asset,
Right.
the two main roofs. So there is obviously a larger project for the ADA compliance. We are out right now requesting quotes from code consultants so that we can get the overall scope of work for the ADA. And then we'll have to bring in an envelope consultant for, to get the envelope up to speed, but there's some moving parts there.
Have we got placeholders in the CapEx budget going forward for this?
So there is a theater fund that has whatever it is, $840,000. So I think that is where something would be funded from, but I can't really speak to that because Bill was doing that, but I can check and get back to you.
Tiger, can you address that?
We didn't have anything slated, Nick, going forward because we didn't know exactly what was going to be going forward with the building itself.
Right.
But our feeling is that the reserve fund that we have from the Playhouse itself should be sufficient to cover the majority of it. As Joe mentioned, we're right now interviewing code consultants. They'll be able to help guide us through that process, and working with Brian and Paul Payne, the fire marshal. And then at that point in time, we'll come forward with a larger scope plan for the interior modifications that are necessary.
So Tiger, you think this is like a $500,000 project rather than $1 million project? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. It's going to be a sizable number. I can't give you a number right now.
So you think the reserve may not cover all of the costs? Is that correct?
It'll be close. It's what we're anticipating.
Okay.
Anyway, the roof was approved in this fiscal year budget more than a year ago when we anticipated that Bow Tie would be operating the theater under their extended lease. So, as we've learned, roofs have to be done when they have to be done, and this roof has to be done. So I have no further questions, and I would call the motion. I would move to approve the item for a total of $262,000, which includes a contingency for the Playhouse roof replacement. Second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimously approved. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Who's doing? Tucker, why don't I have parenthetically who's covering these today?
Yeah, Maria's going to do Bristow.
Good morning.
Good morning, Maria.
Yes. So last July, the Board of Selectmen granted approval for Phase 1 of the Bristow Centennial Master Plan to perform restoration work at Bristow Bird Sanctuary and Wildwood Preserve. The Phase 1 work, including new fencing, gate relocations, along with additional dredging and pond restoration work, has been substantially completed, and the success of the project is currently being enjoyed by the community. Given that phase one was completed efficiently and under budget, there is the opportunity to perform additional work within the Bristow Centennial Master Plan scope prior to initiating phase two in our next fiscal year. The proposed boardwalk project scope of work includes the upgrade of a 230 linear foot boardwalk on piers. The scope also includes other site work such as short trail section to connect to the existing trail to the new boardwalk and stone landings at either end of the new boardwalk, and related landscape improvements. The project went out to public bid with two bidders submitting proposals, the lowest bidder being Peter Lonnie, Inc. for $70,923.50, plus a 15% contingency of $10,638.50 for a total of $81,562. We recommend that the contract to Peter Lonnie, Inc. for a total of $81,562 be approved. Pending the transfer of $35,000 from the Friends of Bristow, the funds, are currently available.
Questions?
Just a comment, Maria. I understand that the boardwalk is going to be one that's very similar to the one that's in the Nature Center. Could you just comment on that?
Correct. So the pier installation for the Nature Center is a diamond pier installation. And it is, given the subsurface conditions when you go through a meadow and wetlands, it's a good installation and the recommended installation for this option. So it was actually an alternative in the bid, and it's one that the designers and the town of New Canaan have reviewed and decided to proceed with.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tiger, can you put up the photo of the pond resident?
Oh, the snapping turtle.
Our oldest New Canaan resident.
Right. Yeah, I would imagine.
I thought that was Kevin.
It's snapping turtles all over social media. Everyone keeps taking pictures of it.
Very cool.
I'm a little concerned about the liability with that guy. He's
Big. Is that the first time he's been identified, or he's been there for quite some time?
He's been here a while.
So
Right here.
Yeah, I love that.
he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Seriously, Tiger, how old is he, do you think?
Well, they can live over 100 years old. I don't know exactly how
Wow.
old he is, but he's been here a while.
Does he have a name?
They're working on a name. They're thinking of doing a kind of a naming, like a raffle or a
fundraiser.
That'd be
Right.
great. That'd be great.
I'd call him Tiger.
Don't know that it fits.
Thanks for sharing, Tiger.
No problem.
Okay, any questions about the sanctuary boardwalk? I move we approve this Public Works request to have Peter Lonnie install this boardwalk for a total of $81,562, $35,000 of which is contributed by the Friends of Bristow Park.
Second here.
Further discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you, Tiger. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, going on to toys for the highway department.
Toys. I love how we say toys. We call them necessary pieces of equipment, but it's all good. This request is for the purchase of a new Lowboy truck. It'll be replacing one that's past its useful life. The Lowboys are basically our workhorses throughout the department. They use 365 days a year. The mechanics went to a new company. This is on a state bid out of Massachusetts, and are looking towards a new type of body, new type of engine, given all the new requirements that are out there as far as emissions and what have you. MHQ has done very nice work for other municipalities that we've been consulting with in the state and elsewhere. And we'd like to purchase this new Lowboy dump truck for $64,551.60. They're willing to give us a trade-in of $10,500. We were able to negotiate that trade up from their original ask was $8,000. We came back, we countered with the $10,500, They accepted that, so for a total of $54,051.60.
Questions? No questions. I may move we approve this request from Public Works to purchase a Ford F-350 Lowboy dump truck for the body and for a net price of $54,051.60 after a trade-in. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Now a
Thank you.
tractor. Who's doing
This will be
tractor?
John.
Good morning, John.
Good morning. I have to tell you, first, I'm sitting out in Mead Park because we have a baseball training going for my guys. So I stepped away to come talk to you. So the tractor we want to purchase, it's a 75 horsepower four-wheel drive tractor, which will be used for a number of different things. Anything from aerifying, seeding of athletic fields, also field mowing, such as the Waveney for the fireworks or the septic system behind West School, Irwin, that type of stuff. And then in the winter, it will have a 14-foot wide snowplow that will be able to be mounted on it, which will greatly help us with the school parking lots, being able to clean large sections and also take the snow and put it out of the way so we don't lose parking spots as much. So this mower's on the state contract, and we'd like to purchase it from Contractor Equipment in North Franklin, Connecticut.
Questions?
So John, is this the biggest tractor we've had in our fleet of tractors?
It's going to be similar size to a backhoe, but yes, this will be the biggest tractor that we use on athletic fields, that type of stuff. Okay. Physical size. We have one that's just a little bit smaller than that, but it looks a lot smaller than that just because it's set up with turf tires. So, yep.
Great.
Questions, Nick?
None here.
I move we approve this request from Public Works Department to purchase a tractor for snow and field maintenance for $87,954.63 from Contractor Equipment. Do I have a second?
Second here.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you, John.
Thank you.
We need to keep hybrid meetings so people don't have to come in person to meetings, and I hope that's what we're going to continue to do. It makes it a lot more convenient, especially for night meetings for staff. So, okay, John, thank you. And moving on to artificial fields. That's also John, I guess.
It's also me, yes. This fortunately, it wasn't that bad of a winter, so we didn't have to spend a lot of money with outside contractors for snow removal. So we'd like to do this work. It's kind of two parts on the agenda. It's separate parts, but we'd like to hire Championship Turf for $13,800, which what they'll do is they'll deep clean, they'll decompact the infill, they'll rotary brush it, vacuum it, static brush it, which just means one that's not moving, and use a magnetic broom, which we do not have, to help in case there's some metal particles out there. That's not as important for us as a lot of places because we do not use ground up tires. We use the same material that's in that roofing material, which I can't say either, the EDPM, which is virgin rubber, so to speak. So it hasn't been used for something else. They'll top dress the fields. When just normal usage, you lose some of the crumb rubber. It also keeps the surface up to the proper height so that the carpet stays great. And I could go on for hours about this. And then they'll work that infill into this whole system, into the whole field system per se. So that's why we went to two vendors. One was very responsive coming down, looking at our fields and going through stuff, but they never came through with a proposal. But we'd like to hire Championship Turf to do this work.
You want to add 9 as far as the purchase of the material?
Right. The main reason we kept the purchase of the material separate, and I included it on the memo, we could buy it through Championship Turf. We'd have to pay probably a percentage markup just because they'd be handling it. The other part is we need to, we like to buy it ourselves because then we've got complete control of what we're purchasing. The crumb rubber per se can be, there's a lot of questions on what's nice and what's not nice out there, meaning ground up tires with that type of stuff. We want to keep our fields with the proper material down.
Gotcha. So questions for John on these two items? Go ahead,
Hey, John.
Kathleen.
So I understand that we have money in the budget because we had a mild winter. Is this something though that we would do on an annual basis typically, or has it been done previously? This type of deep cleaning, et cetera?
Well, we clean the fields regularly ourselves.
Right.
We have some of the equipment. This is a more thorough job. Would we do it annually? No, it's not needed to add the rubber and everything else every year. Recommended would be every 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
A lot of places don't do it at all, and they still can get the 8 to 10 year life cycle out of there. It makes a much safer playing surface for the users by keeping the cushion at the proper. Well, there's a whole process of testing it, which they'll also go through and test just to make sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, John, what about the other turf field, the smaller one?
The smaller one, just because of the lack of use, that's why we're not doing that one. And we're also not doing the 2 Little League infields, mainly because just the different type of use they are. We do hand top dressing of the Little League infields presently anyways. So it doesn't need the same process. At some point in time, yes, it probably would. Hopefully we'll have another easy winter about 3 years from now, and I'll be back saying the same thing, and then we'll include other fields too.
Good, thanks.
I have no further questions. I move we approve both items. One is for Championship Turf to come in and clean, groom, and maintain Dunning and the Water Tower 1 and 2 fields, and the second is for the purchase of the materials, 20,000.
I'm in a meeting. I'm sorry.
20,000 pounds of crumb rubber from Turfenville for $9,000. So let's vote on them together. Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
Further discussion?
None here.
Okay, that's approved. Who's doing Greg's? John?
Yes.
John, John, you're muted.
Sorry. Greg's Garden Center has, for the last number of years, has done work for us on beds, planting beds around town. Anything from Town Hall, Lapham Center. This has worked out very well. He's been the low bidder for a number of years, and that's why we'd like to continue with him. He's very responsive to our needs if something comes up, that type of stuff. So that's why we'd like to hire Greg's to take care of the spring weeding, pruning of shrubs, and also mulching all the beds in town.
Questions? I move we approve this request from Public Works to enter into contract with Greg's Garden Center for a total of $35,068 for pruning, weeding, and mulching of the plant beds at various town locations. Do I have a second?
Second here.
Nick, a second. Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emergency alcohol. I don't know if Phil was able to do it.
Phil was going to try to join if he could, Kevin, but I don't see him on the call.
Why don't we pick up here the item on the appointment of to the Planning and Zoning. So Jean Grislecki, who has served on for 30 years on the Planning and Zoning Commission, has notified us of her resignation effective immediately. So Art Cassavant has been serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission as an alternate for the past year or two. He's next in line, and talking to John Goodwin, he asked that we move this nomination forward. So the agenda item is the approval of the appointment of Arthur Cassavant as a regular member of the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term ending December 1, 2023. Art is a banker who does a lot of work in the affordable housing area, and he's been a very good addition to Planning and Zoning. And I wanted to say, Jean Grislecki has been a fabulous, dedicated, and very thoughtful Planning and Zoning Commissioner. I've enjoyed working with her for the past several years, and I think everyone's going to miss Jean's contribution. So we thank Jean, and I, before we vote on Art, I don't know if Nick, Kathleen, or Nick would like to say anything.
Kevin, I'll echo that. Jean has been a great contributor to our town and to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and so 30 years is quite a legacy, and we wish her well, and with grateful appreciation for all that she's done for our town.
It's 30 years on one of our, hardest working, relentless, commissions, P&Zs, a tough job. And so eternal thanks to Jean for her service. It's incredible. 30 years on P&Z. It's a lot.
So thank you, Jean. And so therefore I move we appoint Art Cassava as I read. Do I have a second?
Second here.
Further discussion? All in favor of the appointment? That's unanimous. Thank you. Now we'll go back. I guess we don't have Phil. Let me explain the emergency alcohol services thing. So we last August, we switched over to Everbridge for our emergency alcohol system, having been with the prior vendor for a decade. Because of COVID, we've actually racked up a lot of charges under the contract system for having credits, and we went over $1 million. In a normal year with emergency outcalls, we would maybe have 2 or 3 storms at the most, and we might have we would have a fraction of the messages we've been doing with COVID. They actually charge more for telephone calls as opposed to the emails and text messages. So as I previously announced, we are only sending voice messages out now on COVID weekly reports to about 1,500 seniors over age 75. Anybody who wants to receive them could ask to have their name added to the list. But in the meantime, everyone, including those seniors, are receiving the emails if we have their email address. So the overage was negotiated down to $18,000. This is a COVID expense. We're getting reimbursed for lots of COVID expenses through FEMA and through the federal government. So, but I didn't approve the contract on an emergency basis, even though we had no choice but to pay this bill. It's through the end of June, and next year I'm sure we will not be. We will be within the limits of the contract. So I move we approve this request from the Office of Emergency Management to pay Everbridge $18,000 for the balance of the current fiscal year until the end of June. Questions for me or for Phil if he joined us?
Just one question, Kevin. So when we were reviewing the providers of this type of service, and I understand this is an expense already incurred, so that's what we're approving here. But I'm just wondering, would having known what these expenses are, would you have moved to another potential provider of these services?
No. Keep in mind that the Everbridge is the gold standard, and Everbridge is the state of Connecticut's vendor. Most of our neighboring communities use Everbridge. So it's the only thing is we thought we were paying the prior vendor, I think, $15,000 a year, and we thought our annual cost with this vendor is $8,000 a year, which would be in a normal year. COVID changed all that, but again, we've had a lot of COVID expenses we didn't anticipate. So, but I also the amount of this also included Isaias in August, which I think we had 8 or 10 outcalls for that alone, and we have ramped up. We only had 3,000 email addresses in the prior vendor. We now have, I think, 17,000 email addresses in Everbridge, and we have the same number of phone numbers that people had previously enrolled. So it's important that we communicate in emergencies, and we want everybody to be in the system for when we have to communicate. We will certainly use voice out calls for any emergency event that we want to make sure everybody gets the word immediately.
Okay, great, thank you.
So with that, I move we approve this request. As I said, did I get a second, or are we in the discussion phase? I forgot where we are.
We need a second.
Second.
Nick seconds for the discussion. All in favor? That's approved. Thank you. And then tax overpayments is a couple modest overpayments on the tablets to approve. I move we approve those tax overpayments. Second.
Second.
Kathleen seconds. Discussion. All in favor? Those are approved. Legal fees on the tablets. We're approaching our annual budget limit, and
So we're going to go over budget on legal.
we also reduced the budget last year, which, you know, by 10%, and I think the prior year we also reduced it by 10%. So we're coming off of a low budget number. And
But what's the expectation through June 30th, Kevin?
I don't try to predict the world of legal fees, Nick, as you know. P&Z is normally the big user, but this year P&Z has been somewhat lower. Yep.
Sorry, what is the budget for next year then, next fiscal year?
That's a good question. I don't recall what we budgeted for next fiscal year. Maybe we came down another 10%. Linda, do you recall?
We budgeted 300,000.
Yes,
Thanks.
we
For the
stayed
year.
flat, but we had come down 2 years in a row by 10%.
Right.
We were at 350 and we came down to 330, and then we came down to 300. So.
And were we under budget the year prior?
I believe so.
I can look.
No, we're definitely going to go over budget this year. We've only got $2,000 remaining in budget.
Is it 2 or 23?
Two.
Well, the lawyer's got to be paid, as you
We
know.
spent over $40,000 on the God's Acre.
Well, again, I think that is going to come soon. So, anyway, I move we approve the legal fees on the tablets.
Second here.
Nick seconds, and further discussion. All in favor? That's unanimous. Contracts, there's only a few small contracts there to review. That brings us to Selectmen's comments.
Oh, sorry, could I just question, sorry, on contract, on the MKLs, the supplement number 5, Waveney House change order of an additional, and is there something missing there in terms of the language, but what was, Tiger, maybe you know?
Yeah, that was, sorry, that was for when we changed from going through phase 1, which would have originally been the elevator and then the bathrooms, phase 1 and phase 2, and changed to phase 3, bringing the exterior modifications in play. We had to go back to the, excuse me, to the architect to revise the plans and revise some of the documents, and then take a look at it on an overall basis as far as how much money that would be, considering the fact that when he bid it, he had certain monies in phase 1 that was applicable to phase 3. So we had to kind of do a balancing. If you remember when we approved the contract, that was the additional architectural fee associated with that, their additional effort associated with it. So it was an add to their contract. So supplemental number 5 was a change order to their contract itself.
Plus, Kathleen, actually design, but then they also get paid to monitor the project through completion. Right. I didn't realize that myself, but
right. We asked the architect to make sure that it's they're an additional set of eyes and ears for us in conjunction with our staff. So it's basically a change order to their services in conjunction with changing the phasing from phase 3 to bringing phase 3 forward, and then having to add the items that were necessarily in phase 1. There was some door modifications and things like that that they were going to do in phase 1 that were necessary for phase, that would have been done when we got to phase 3, had to be done with phase 3. So we had to do an analysis there and see exactly what was necessary.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
Sorry. Yeah.
that brings us to Selectmen's comments. I would just make a few comments. As you know, everyone should know by now, Governor Lamont surprised us last night by announcing a change in the COVID protocols effective May 1 for not requiring masks outdoors. And also that apparently the executive orders will expire on May 20th. so that the other COVID limitations, such as social distancing and things that affect restaurants in particular, will come off. My expectation, the expectation of Westcog CEOs was that there'd be an extension of the governor's protocols until the end of June, but apparently that's not going to happen. This is good news. Obviously, the governor is in touch with he indicated his, David Lehman is in touch with the rest of the states, and this is a judgment call. I expected the announcement in May and not coming now. So as reported last night with our outcall, our numbers are continued to be moderate, even though we're comparatively with the rest of the country in Connecticut and Fairfield County a little bit high, but the amount of vaccinations that we're doing and the vaccinations we're going to do tomorrow at Waveney continue to put us in good stead in New Canaan in particular and around the state. The state is doing a great job, so that's all good news on COVID. I don't think I really have anything else I want to say, but Kathleen or Nick, do you?
Nope, thank you.
So our final item, we need to go into executive session, and therefore we will ask the members of the public and the staff to depart. I think the only guest is Tucker Murphy, and who else? Cheryl Jones, and our outside attorney, Claire Ryan.
And Linda.
Linda's also, okay, joining us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
so technically, we're going to vote to go into executive session. I move we go into executive session, 9:12 or whatever.
Okay, we're recording again.
Okay, so the Board of Selectmen has just moved to come out of executive session at 9:17, and I move that the Board of Selectmen authorize the first selectman to sign the settlement agreement with former firefighter John Aniello. Do I have a second?
Second here.
All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you all, and I move we adjourn for today's
Thank you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Kathleen seconds.
Thank you.
All in favor? Okay. We will hopefully be in person or by hybrid in 2 weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Kathleen.